Well, everybody, I'm Sam, and alongside me is Terrence Payne, and we are here to give you our top five broadcasts in the last 20 or so years. For us, we're only going back to 1998. Uh, we'll go through them in order, unveil them as we get to them, and I guess we'll start with the one probably most meaningful to both of us, the Red Sox in '04 when they finally won that first World Series since 1918. Joe Buck was on the call. Everybody from New England can pretty much say what Joe Buck said in that one. And why does that one stand out to you?
I mean, I think that one stands out to us because of just the history of the Red Sox and just that whole season they went through with being down 3-0 to the Yankees and then just kind of steamrolling over the Cardinals, who were a very good team that year. But I really enjoyed Joe Buck's call, which is kind of a rarity for most fans to admit. But I think he did a nice job where
Keith McCarver was in the call, so that makes it a little bit better.
Yes. But he really just he lets Keith Foulke throw the pitch without saying a word. It really kind of set the moment for what was going to happen, and then he made a quick call, stabbed by Foulke. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it, and then let the whole scene call itself. Really,
right? He just let the crowd and the players' voices and everything just kind of wash over the people who were listening, and that's going to be a recurring theme in the next four games that we go through. Just the announcers knowing when to back off. And Joe Buck does an excellent job of that in the game. And he also, the magnitude of that call, that is arguably one of the biggest calls in baseball history, probably the biggest call in the 20th century or since 2000 hit. And he handled that with great poise, great control, and he made it one that is a memorable call.
Yeah, he definitely did. And it wasn't anything over the top. It wasn't too dramatic. It wasn't too long. It was very quick, and it was a perfect call for that scene.
Moving on, we'll go to the one that goes the farthest back in our timeline. In 1998, the Bob Costas call of the Michael Jordan in what was supposed to be his final game when he hit that jumper from the foul line over Russell in Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals against the Jazz. And the way Costas handled that call, Costas, nowadays, we see him. He mostly does the essays for the U.S. Open, at the Kentucky Derby, Sunday Night for Football. He doesn't do much play-by-play anymore. But to our generation, to go back and watch that highlight and see how Costas handled it, we really see that Costas, he was a jack of all trades. He could do it all.
Yeah, and he really did a nice job. Once again, like we said, quick, very nice call for a big moment. And when you think about the magnitude of that call at the time, it was Michael Jordan's last shot, so it was a very nice way to call Jordan's end to his career. And I really like how he set a dramatic tone when Jordan was on the wing, ready to make a move on Byron Russell. He says something along the lines of, "This is either number 6 for Jordan as championships, or they're going to go to Game 7." I really thought that was a very good dramatic kind of statement to make, and he really kind of ignores the push off of Russell. I don't know if he didn't see it. I mean, nowadays everyone knows that it was a little bit of a bump, but he just focused on the shot, and I think that was important. He didn't call everything. He just focused on one aspect, and that was Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan's legacy.
Right, and then after he said what you just alluded to for the championship or for Game 7, he got out of the way again. Again, we see the announcer getting out of the way, and then the next thing he went on to say is, the shot is good, or the Bulls take the lead, just something quick like that. Then again, he just let the crowd and the players' emotions sort of take control of what was going on with the broadcast. Another great call, Al Michaels, when he was with NBC, making the call in Super Bowl 43, Steelers-Cardinals, the call on the Santonio Holmes catch, and he does a great job setting the tone. You can hear he knows the magnitude of the moment. You can hear the heightened excitement in his voice, but he does a good job in not going too overboard until it's confirmed that Santonio Holmes has made that fantastic catch in the right corner of the end zone, keeping his toes in there. And just another fantastic call by Al Michaels, who's been calling games since the 70s, and for this one to really stand out, I think it makes it that much better.
I mean, yeah, Al Michaels has had a lot of experience in big game situations, calling those big moments. Everyone alludes to the Miracle on Ice in 1980. But yeah, he does a great job of being very patient with the call. He lets the referee get over there, check, and make the call before he really just makes the official call, touchdown Steelers. So he does a great job of just being patient, where some broadcasters may have gone over the top and just made a rapid decision based on what they saw.
Yeah, it was a great call, and he did a fantastic job with it. Our fourth game is an NCAA tournament game, Memphis versus Kansas. And how can you have a list of modern announcers without including Jim Nance? Jim Nance in that game made a fantastic call when Mario Chalmers hit the three-pointer after, or to tie the game and force overtime, a game which Kansas eventually won in overtime. And what I really liked about the call is he made a great call at the end, but it was the beginning when Kansas was working the ball off the court. He still had the wherewithal to work in information. He goes, Kansas has only hit 2 3-pointers in the game. And a lot of announcers can't have their mind work that slowly where they can throw in a crucial stat of that nature.
Yeah, and it was lucky for him because Memphis was at the free throw line, so he was able to get that information. But it was great reporting. Most play-by-play guys wouldn't have that under their belt. I'm sure he had some assistance on that one, but just the presence of mind to realize that Kansas had only knocked down 2 3-pointers and then be able to incorporate that into the call. And he also makes a very nice call. He calls he really hits every aspect of that play where Sharon Collins almost fumbles the ball and finally gets it to Chalmers. And he doesn't get overexcited with, we keep going back to it being overexcited. He makes a great call on the Chalmers 3, but he still has, again, the presence of mind to realize that there was still time on the clock and Memphis had a chance to make an even better play.
Yeah, and just that was one of the better calls in recent memory in NCAA tournament history. But the one we want to finish with is one that isn't really a particular call. It's just a call in general of an entire game. Maybe I guess it could be considered a game and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But the UConn-Syracuse 6 overtime game when Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, and Bill Raftery were on the call. Personally, I consider them the best crew in sports, just the way McDonough, they all joke around. McDonough does a great job calling games. Billis brings that extraordinary knowledge of the game of basketball to the table. And then you got the goofy Raftery there who just loves to put in his catchphrases, but also knows the game at the same time. And it was the perfect trio to be calling a game of that magnitude.
Yeah, and going back to that crew, it's always fun when you can poke fun at Bill Raftery's drinking. But being serious, this game was incredible, and just the whole stage of it, Madison Square Garden, a very good rivalry between two well-respected programs and two Hall of Fame coaches. And I think they did a great job of not going too over the top with it. They stayed very level-headed, but they still made it an interesting game. The game was obviously good enough for itself, but they really did a good job of letting people know that, hey, this is a rarity here. We're going 4, 5, 6 overtimes, and I really think they kind of played to the role of the fan, where fans, I know you and myself were probably sitting there on our couches saying, oh, I can't believe it, hands on my head, like I can't believe they're going to another overtime, and they kind of took the role of a fan, laughing after every overtime.
Yeah, they really did, because so many times the announcer just falls into the role of we're there just doing our job, because they go to so many games and they see so many buzzer beaters and they see the same thing quite often. But what was nice about this and refreshing is they had the wherewithal where they could just step back and say, wow, we're part of something amazing right now. Let's see how long it can go, and that's exactly what they did. And they really did a fantastic job capturing the mood, and what was happening in the game. And I don't think that game could have been called any better. And what amazed me most is they were still doing, so many times when you get into those games that go to extra time, it starts getting tough to do color work, bring up facts about players, but they were still bringing forward new information about a certain player, whether it was a starter or a guy who was buried on the bench. They were still bringing forward new information that the fans would otherwise not know about.
Yeah, definitely. I think that maybe it was just they also had the resource of being in such an iconic arena and going to so many overtimes. But yeah, they did. I remember walk-ons were coming into the game and they had great information on them. So that was something that you have to remember if you're into sports broadcasting like we both are.
So that is our list right there. Red Sox 2004 Joe Buck, Jordan Game 6 of the NBA championship in 1998 Bob Costas, Steelers Cardinals Super Bowl 43, Al Michaels, Jim Nance, Memphis, Kansas, NCAA Championship Game 2008, and Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, and Bill Raftery in the 6 overtime game, Syracuse versus UConn. That is our list of the top 5 broadcasts in our lifetime. This has been Sam Dossler and Terrence Payne saying so long.